Hello, this is Cathy Cassidy, and I thought I would read you one of the short stories from Life is Sweet, which is a book that's linked to my Chocolate Box Girls series, and it has some long short stories by some of the minor characters in the series. So, for example, the boyfriends and the friends of the sisters in the Chocolate Box series. And I wanted to read you a story called, it's called Snowflakes and Wishes. And the reason for that is because it's a very wintry story, and the story starts on New Year's Eve. And I thought it might just be a nice story to share with you over the next week or so. It's a story in 8 chapters, so it's not too long. It's not book length or anything, but it's bigger than a short story. So yeah, and there will be some familiar characters for any of you who have read the Chocolate Box series. The story is, it kind of takes place in between Sweet Honey in the series and Fortune Cookie. And in this short story, Lawrie's family are back at Tanglewood for a party, and returning to Somerset reminds him how much he's missed it all. So yeah, I'm going to read you the story. I'll show you the picture at the top of the chapter. It's a little dog curled up on a cushion. And Lawrie, who is Coco's very good friend, who no longer lives in Somerset, is telling the story. So here's how it goes. We are an hour's drive from Tanglewood when the sky darkens to the colour of an especially nasty bruise, all blotchy purple with mustard yellow patches showing through. It feels as though the clouds are lowering, hanging just inches above us, like a curtain about to come down on a long and very boring play. We've been driving for 4 hours already. Mum, my little sister Jasmine, and me. It's gone all dark, Jas says from the back seat, leaning forward to offer me a chocolate coin left over from her Christmas stocking. What time is it, Lawrie? Will we be late for the party? It's only just gone 2 in the afternoon, I say, peeling the gold foil away from the chocolate coin. Relax, we've got bags of time, but I think some kind of a storm might be brewing. The weather forecast said heavy snowfalls in the west, Mum says, frowning as she drives. Don't worry, we'll be there soon. Snowfalls, Jasmine breathes. Oh, I hope it's proper snow, the kind you can sledge on and make snowballs with. Maybe we'll get stranded and have to stay at Tanglewood forever. I laugh. My little sister is so transparent. She hasn't really settled back into her old school in Kendal. Some of the kids tease her a bit, and although she's tougher than she looks, I don't want my little sister to have to handle that kind of stuff. She's seen enough bullying to last her a lifetime. Jasmine loved a lot of things about living in Somerset, but she lost a bit of confidence too, living with a psycho like James Seddon. I suppose we all did. He was Mum's boyfriend, and although he seemed fine to start with, it turned out he had a vicious streak. He was cruel to his animals, cold with his friends, and a total bully with us. We were supposed to be his family, but he never stopped telling us we were dirt, rubbish, scum. He made me feel so angry, so helpless, so bad. He made all of us feel that way. Seddon doesn't live in Somerset anymore. Coco messaged me a while back to say he'd sold up and gone to live with his brother in Canada. And although I'd rather he was in prison, which is what he deserves for the way he treated us, not to mention the animals, I'm also a little bit glad. I'm glad because now there's an ocean between us, and because I can breathe a little more easily now that I'm not breathing the same air as him. My mind drifts, and suddenly I'm back there. I'm on my knees in the mud, fumbling with the rope round Sheba's neck, tugging at the knot, while the skinny, scrawny dog whimpers and yelps. Hurry, Lawrie, Coco whispers, quick! And then a flashlight flares and a shot rings out. Coco steps back into the shadows, leading the rescued ponies with her, and I see Seddon, shotgun in hand, striding towards me through the darkness. "Lawrie," he yells, "is that you, you useless boy? I've told you before to leave that dog alone. She's not a pet. She's a guard dog." I managed to get Sheba's collar off, and the two of us duck away from Seddon, but not quickly enough. He grabs my arm and throws me to the ground. I can hear Mum and Jazz up by the house calling me, but when I scramble up, Seddon comes for me again, shoving me back against the outbuilding. Pain sears through my arm like fire. I don't actually see Seddon hit my mum. I just hear the harsh slap of his palm against her cheek in the darkness. I shudder, remembering the last time I saw James Seddon. Good riddance to bad rubbish. He was a bully and a con man extraordinaire. He'd come into our lives with smiles and promises to start with, and we'd thought he was great. By the time we found out what he was really like, it was too late. Sheba is cuddled up in a blanket on the back seat with Jasmine, trying to snuffle her way into the net of foil-wrapped chocolate coins. She's our dog now. Mum, Jazz and I took her north to Kendal when we went back to live with Gran, and now she's well fed with a sleek, shiny coat and the waggiest tail in the Northern Hemisphere. Seeing her now, you'd never believe she'd been so ill-treated. She should be in a travel crate or have some kind of dog seatbelt, but she's scared of crates and kennels and hates any kind of harness, and we don't have the heart to force her. "Mum," Jazz pipes up, "are we nearly there? I want to see Caramel before it gets dark." "Not too far now, I promise," Mum says. "We'll be there about 4, just in time for tea. And yes, of course you'll see Caramel." Caramel was Jasmine's pony, a birthday present from Seddon, but really the pony had just been an excuse for him to bully and control both Jasmine and Caramel. He'd been on a power trip. He'd wanted to break Caramel's spirit and tried to do the same to us. I tried to look out for the ponies, but it had been Coco who had taken matters into her own hands and rescued them, hiding them away from Seddon. That was how I got to know Coco, really, because before I'd always thought she was kind of bossy and annoying, when actually she turned out to be pretty amazing. She's my best friend, or at least she was before we moved back to Kendal last year. I have missed Coco. I ended up with a bit of a crush on her in the end after that whole pony rescue thing, and now more than a year has gone by and I can't help wondering if I'll still feel that way when I see her again. And if I do, what then? I'm not exactly known for my wit, charm, or smooth chat-up lines. Coco will probably swat me away like some annoying insect and go on being awesome in her own sweet way. Anyway, there'd been no way we could have turned up at Gran's house with an Exmoor pony and a half-starved dog. Seriously, Gran doesn't even have a front garden. She'd let us keep Sheba, but Caramel had to be left behind. I love my Gran, but I can't help thinking she'd be just a tiny bit relieved if Mum found a job that allowed her to move out and rent a little flat for us all. She'd never say that, though, and it's not possible anyway because we're barely scraping by as it is on the wages Mum earns at the cafe. So Coco has been looking after Caramel and sending Jazz occasional picture updates, but my little sister is desperate to see her pony again. Right now, she looks like she'll explode with excitement at any minute. "I can see the sea," she yells suddenly, and everyone sits up as the rugged Somerset coast appears to the right of us. The sea is dark grey and brooding under a gloomy sky. Minutes later, we turn into a narrow, twisty lane that climbs uphill until at last we come to the rickety gate that marks the driveway to Tanglewood. It's a rambling, slightly shambolic Victorian house, complete with turret and leaded glass windows, now lit up with fairy lights and stick-on paper snowflakes. This place was our home too for a little while, the autumn before last, after we'd got away from Seddon. The car slows, crunching along the drive, and as Mum parks beside the house, the kitchen door bursts open, spilling a mad gaggle of sisters who rush across the gravel to greet us. We get out of the car, creaky from sitting still for so long, stretching and laughing. Jasmine is shy suddenly, hiding behind me, but the sisters, Cherry, Sky, Summer, Honey and Coco. Wrap her in hugs and take her hands and pull her forward, and her face lights up in a way I haven't seen for a very long time. I shoot a shy glance at Coco. She'll be 13 now, like me, and even in her usual uniform of baggy sweater and skinny jeans, she looks older, cooler, more aloof than before. Sandy, Lawrie, Jasmine, you made it! Charlotte, Coco's mum, hugs my mum, welcoming us all. How was the drive? It's such a long way, but we're thrilled you're here. We've got some soup on the Aga if you're hungry. Coco's stepdad, Paddy, appears in the doorway of the chocolate workshop, grinning, and we start moving towards the house because it's way too cold to be standing around outside on the 31st of December. Hey, Coco says, falling into step beside me. Great to see you, Lawrie. It's been ages. Too right, I say gruffly, that thought you might have forgotten what I look like. As if, Coco laughs, looks like those two remember each other too. Sheba is bouncing about on the driveway, skidding from person to person until she finds Fred, and then the two dogs go into a mad frenzy of tail-wagging delight. I can feel a weight lifting from my shoulders, a weight I hadn't even realised was there. It's good to be back in Somerset, and good to be back with Coco. We went through such a lot together, but so much has happened since. I wasn't sure how it would be when I saw her again. It might have been awkward or embarrassing, but I don't think it's going to be either of those things. It's going to be cool. And then the first flakes of snow begin to fall out of the darkening clouds, and I catch Coco's eye, and the two of us laugh out loud, turning our faces up to the sky. So that's chapter 1 of Wishes and Snowflakes, which is one of, I think, not sure if there's 6 or 7 short stories in this book, Life is Sweet. And if you are curious and would like to know more about Lawrie and Coco's story, and you haven't read Coco Caramel in the Chocolate Box Girls series, that's a book that anybody who loves animals and believes in standing up for what they really believe in would really, really enjoy. And it gives you a bit of background to this short story. But I'm going to carry on with this tomorrow, so please do tune in. I know that a lot of us are now in added restrictions. We're effectively locked down again. So if reading this short story can put a smile on someone's face, then that's worthwhile to me. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe until then. Take care.